Two people, the same salary, the same city, the same 10 years of hard work. One of them ends up owning a piece of their future. The other ends up owning almost nothing. And the difference rarely begins with a brilliant investment. It begins with something far less dramatic. A decision so small, it barely feels like a decision. One upgrades the car. The other increases an automatic investment. One spends the raise before it arrives. The other quietly buys back a little more freedom. At first, their lives look almost identical. Then time enters the story. And time has a strange habit of turning small differences into enormous distances. Most people think wealth is an event, a promotion, a lucky break, a winning stock, the perfect business idea. But wealth is usually not an event. It is a pattern. And once you can see the pattern, you start to notice it everywhere. This is not a video about getting rich overnight. It is about something more useful: the invisible money habits that make wealth increasingly difficult to avoid. Think about every financial decision you have made in the last month. Every purchase, every subscription, every moment you chose convenience, status, safety, or patience. How many of those decisions felt completely deliberate? Probably very few. Because most money decisions are not made with a calculator. They are made by an autopilot, built from emotion, memory, and repetition. Money may look mathematical, but human beings are not. We spend to feel successful. We save to feel safe. We avoid investing because uncertainty feels dangerous. Or we chase risky bets because being left behind feels even worse. Show two people the same opportunity and they see completely different things. One sees possibility. The other sees everything that could go wrong. And neither reaction begins with the opportunity itself. It begins with the story each person already carries about money. This is your financial autopilot. And an autopilot does not care where you want to go. It only repeats the route it already knows. That is why earning more does not automatically create wealth. If the underlying pattern stays the same, more income just gives the old pattern more fuel. The spender becomes a bigger spender. The status seeker buys more convincing symbols. The person without a system builds a more expensive version of the same chaos. Before wealth ever becomes visible in an account, it becomes invisible in behavior. Long before you earned your first dollar, you were already learning what money meant. Maybe money created tension in your home. Maybe it was never discussed at all. Maybe spending was a celebration, or saving was treated as the only responsible choice. Children do not need a single lesson to learn about money. They watch. They notice the pause before a bill is opened, the excitement around a new purchase, the way adults talk about wealthy people, the fear of losing a job, the quiet shame of not having enough. And these moments slowly harden into rules. Money disappears. Debt is normal. Investing is gambling. Rich people are greedy. Success has to look expensive. Or maybe money must never be enjoyed because disaster could be waiting. The rules can be completely different, but the result is the same. We confuse a story we inherited with reality itself. That story decides what feels normal, and what feels normal is powerful because almost nobody fights their idea of normal every single day. They just return to it. This is why changing financial behavior takes more than information. You can understand compound growth and still spend every raise. You can know that debt is expensive and still use it to protect an image. Knowledge tells you what is happening. Identity decides what you repeat. So the first money habit of wealthy people is not saving and it is not investing. It is questioning the rules they absorbed without ever choosing them. Who taught me this? Is it still true? And where does this rule take me if I repeat it for another 10 years? That last question changes everything. Because a habit is never just an action. It is a rehearsal for the person you are slowly becoming. There is a moment when financial progress should get easier. Your income rises, the pressure should fall. The gap between what you earn and what you need should grow. But for millions of people, that gap never appears. The moment income rises, lifestyle rises to meet it. A better apartment, a newer car, more convenient habits, more expensive proof that life is moving forward. This is lifestyle inflation, and it is dangerous because it never feels like losing money. It feels like success. Picture someone earning twice what they earned 5 years ago and still trapped by the next paycheck. From the outside, they look richer. Inside, nothing fundamental has changed. They have more income, but also more obligations. The house, the car, and the subscriptions do not just cost money once. They raise the monthly amount required to keep the identity alive. And that creates a strange paradox. The more successful someone looks, the less freedom they may actually have. Because visible wealth is often just consumption. Real wealth is what stays unspent, quietly available to buy future choices. The richest looking person in the room may own the least freedom, and the person quietly building wealth may look completely ordinary. The habit here is not refusing every pleasure. That would just turn money into another kind of prison. The habit is creating a permanent gap between earning and spending, and protecting that gap every time income rises. Because that gap is where wealth begins. Every dollar that enters your life gets a job. It can be consumed, it can be protected, or it can be deployed. Consumed money solves a need or creates an experience now. Protected money builds resilience, an emergency fund, insurance, a margin against uncertainty. Deployed money buys something that can produce future value. That might be a diversified investment, a useful skill, ownership in a business, equipment that increases what you can produce, or an asset that earns without demanding the same hour of your labor again. Wealthy behavior is not about treating every dollar the same. It is about giving enough dollars that third job, and that creates a loop. Income creates a surplus. The surplus buys ownership. Ownership produces growth, income, or capability. That new value buys more ownership, and the loop repeats. At first, the loop is almost disappointing. The numbers are small. The progress is slow. The person who spent the money may look like they are winning. They have something visible. You have a number on a screen and a promise from your future self. But the wealth loop has one advantage consumption can never copy. It can start to feed itself. The first stage depends almost entirely on your effort. The later stages depend more and more on what you already own. This is the shift from working only for money to letting money, skills, and assets work alongside you. Not without risk, not without patience, and never without bad years, but in a completely different direction. The goal is not to stop working tomorrow. It is to stop being completely dependent on tomorrow's work. People overestimate what one dramatic decision can change, and underestimate what a small decision can change once it becomes permanent. Saving 1% more this month will not transform your life. Cutting one recurring expense will not make you wealthy. Learning one useful skill for 20 minutes will not double your income. And that is exactly why these actions are so easy to dismiss. Their power is hidden inside repetition. A small improvement that disappears next month is small. A small improvement that becomes your new default changes every month that follows. Then another improvement is built on top of it, and another. This is the part of compounding most people misunderstand. It does not apply only to investments. Costs compound, skills compound, reputation compounds, debt compounds, good judgment compounds. Even the ability to spot an opportunity compounds, because what you know changes what you are able to see. So the question is not whether compounding is happening in your life. It is what you have placed inside it. Convenience or capability? Interest paid or interest earned? Status purchases or ownership? The effect of a habit is usually invisible at the beginning and obvious at the end. And that creates a valley where the effort has started but the evidence has not arrived yet. Most people quit inside this valley. They decide the habit is not working. But the delay is not proof of failure. The delay is part of the mechanism. Wealth tends to reward the people who can keep behaving intelligently before the results become emotionally convincing. Compounding needs time, and time requires survival. That sounds obvious, yet many financial plans are built as if nothing unexpected will ever happen. Every available dollar is invested. Every possible loan is used. Every forecast assumes steady progress. The plan can look efficient. It is also fragile. One job loss, one emergency, one market collapse, and a person can be forced to sell at exactly the wrong moment. This is why cash reserves can look unproductive while doing one of the most valuable jobs in finance. They buy time. They stop a temporary problem from destroying a long-term plan. They let you wait. And the ability to wait is a hidden advantage. The same is true of avoiding debt that only works if circumstances stay perfect. Debt pulls future income into the present. Sometimes that builds something valuable, but it also reduces the number of choices your future self will have. The wealthy do not only try to maximize returns, they protect their ability to stay in the game. Because an impressive strategy that fails once can lose to an ordinary strategy that survives for decades. Financial resilience is not money doing nothing. It is money protecting everything else. Most people try to fix their finances through motivation. They promise to spend less. They promise to invest whatever is left at the end of the month. They promise to research the big decisions when life finally calms down. But motivation is a terrible financial system. It is strongest when the goal is new, and weakest at the exact moment the decision arrives. A better approach is to make the intelligent behavior the default. Automate a transfer the moment income arrives. Increase it gradually as income grows. Create separate places for spending, for resilience, and for long-term ownership. Cancel the subscriptions and recurring costs that no longer create real value. Add a deliberate delay before status purchases. Make the good decision once, then let the system repeat it for you. This is strategic laziness applied to money. The goal is not to make hundreds of disciplined choices every month. The goal is to build an environment where fewer choices are needed at all. When wealth depends on remembering, resisting, and feeling motivated every day, eventually life wins. When wealth is built into the structure, even an ordinary month moves in the right direction. And that is why wealthy habits can look so boring. The system is quietly doing the work that drama used to perform. Come back to the two people from the beginning. The same salary, the same city, the same 10 years. Their lives did not separate because one of them found a secret investment. They separated through small, repeated choices. One kept increasing the cost of looking successful. The other kept increasing the ownership of their future. One let every raise become a new obligation. The other protected the gap. One waited to feel motivated. The other designed a system. None of these decisions looked life-changing on the day they were made. That is exactly what made them so powerful. We notice the dramatic moments, but our lives are mostly shaped by quiet repetitions. Wealth is not proof that every decision was right. It is not a guarantee against bad luck, and it is not a verdict on the people who have less. We do not start with the same income, the same opportunities, the same health, or the same responsibilities. But inside the part we can influence, the pattern still holds. Create a gap. Protect the downside. Buy ownership. Let time take part. And design the process so it does not depend on becoming a different person every morning. You do not need one perfect financial decision. You need a small number of intelligent decisions, repeated long enough to become who you are. Because in the end, wealth is not an event, it is a habit. And the most important thing your money can buy is not a car, a house, or a number on a screen. It is control over more of your time. That kind of wealth begins long before anyone else can see it. Success leaves clues. This is Theo. If this changed how you see money, subscribe to Theo. We investigate the hidden patterns behind wealth, psychology, and success.